give me a confirmation. We'll be starting the session soon enough, and all your doubts regarding software testing and like automation will be cleared in this session. Okay, so just write down yes or no in the chat box if I'm clearly audible. I hope I'm clearly audible, because the communication is the most important part in the session, right? Okay, so I guess everyone is aware about what this session is going to be all about, right? So basically we'll be covering about automation testing, like what are the roles and responsibilities, and we'll be gaining that knowledge, like should we go for this automation testing or not, from the industry expert. So basically, like welcome once again everyone to today's engaging session on the topic that is very much crucial in the world of software development. And today's session is all about reasons to opt for automation testing, and we'll be covering the roles and responsibilities as well in that area. So I am your host Jadal Sanya, and I'm thrilled to guide you through this insightful session. So allow me to introduce our esteemed guest, Akhil Jain, with over 12 years of experience in this field. And Akhil is a QA professional and currently holds the position of SDET lead. So Akhil's comprehensive skill set spans various programming languages, including Java, JavaScript, and Python, and frameworks related to that programming languages. He's well versed in automation frameworks like Selenium, Protractor, and WebDriver IO. So without any further delay, let's dive into this enlightening session with Akhil, and we'll uncover the essence of software testing and gain invaluable insights in the QA landscape. So let's welcome Akhil.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the session. Hope I'm audible and you can see me.
Yes.
Great. So let's start the session. Okay. So today's session is, we are going to speak about why you should be opting for automation testing and what are the reasons for it. And we'll try to give you some reasoning behind it. And after that, we will be discussing what are different roles and within automation testing when it comes to the structure of the team, and what role you can aspire for, or what role you can be fit in according to the experience you have. And then we'll also discuss the responsibility of each role you will have once for the role you get mapped to within an organization. So let's start. Let me share my screen. Okay, so let's start with the reasons to opt for automation testing. So I've tried to divide this into two categories. One is for the person itself who is looking for an opportunity in automation testing, and he is curious to understand why I should be moving to automation testing. So first of all, let's target what are the audience for this, right? So first of all, someone who is already into the testing world, the testing professional, and he is currently working on a manual testing role. So he could be one of the someone who wants to aspire to move to this role. Second is someone who is starting fresh, who is an intern or who is looking out for automation testing as a career, and he's just starting fresh. So for him or her, the area is unexplored, and he may not have the idea about what exactly is automation testing. But with the other case where someone is already into testing, which is manual testing, and he knows what value does automation testing brings in. So these are the two kind of audience we can think of. Thirdly are someone who are already into automation testing, but they want to explore more. Like, what are those? So yeah, okay. So let's start with the first part. So let's say that like from our perspective, like why we should go for there, right? So everyone knows like automation testing is engineers are high in demand. What is the reason behind it? So the reason is like uh, first of all, it really helps the project. Don't consider the benefits on your end, but do consider it from the employer side or from the project side. Like, why do they want to hire someone who can work on automation testing? First, the testing cycles or this testing process itself is very time consuming in terms of getting the quality checks done. So when automation is applied on the project, it drastically reduces the time of execution and the output you can get after the execution. So, so that is one of the biggest, I mean, the reasons where someone within the project or the project looks out for the automation testing. Second is like the repetitive task. So let's say that let's consider there is a sprint cycle. There's a sprint of 3 weeks within the project, and let's say that you have decided that for a version to be released in the in the market, you will have 3 or 4 sprints, and within the sprints you will have multiple rounds of testing. Now assume like the same testing is required for a feature, right? And it is the best candidate when you are looking out for to identify like what all test cases are needed to be automated, and if you would find them, there would be many. So automation testing helps you reduce that effort. So once you automate things, the dependency on running the things gets removed, so that the same person can invest his time on the other things, right? So from the project perspective, understand like why they would be looking out for someone who has those skills, right? Now coming on to the individuals, let's say me and you, right? So first of all, as I said, that the automation engineers are very high in demand because of the simple reason of what I just explained. Second, someone who are already in the industry, they would be knowing like if they are into the manual profile, and if they start comparing themselves with someone who is already into automation test, they will find that there is a difference. There would be a difference with the pay scale. So which is the a big part of the motivational factor to switch to this role. So that is one of the biggest reasons for it. Third, the opportunities which you get with respect to the growth, your own growth, and the learnings which you get as part of working with this role is immense. There is no end to it. As I explained in my earlier session also, there is no end to what kind of testing you could pick. UI testing, UI automation testing. The skill set required for this could be varied according to the application you're working on. Let's say that you decide to use a Java tech stack. So the kind of tools, frameworks, the kind of libraries you would be consuming would be different. But let's say you decide to use a JavaScript based framework, let's say WebDriver IO, Protector, Cypress, or something else, right? The tech stack for that would be again different. Now, and we have just spoken about the UI testing, right? Similarly, there could be Python based frameworks, there could be something else. So, and this is just about UI. If you go next, there could be API testing, again different flavors of it, different ways to implement, different ways to test, right? Third thing, it could be like performance testing, again a different area, and again a different skill set required to do that. And there are many more, security testing, database, and many more, right? So that is what is the benefit of being in this role, and it really helps you groom yourself in different aspects when it comes to the learning part also. And once you're learning and you're doing hands on the real projects and everything, you are improving yourself and then moving to the next ladder. So that is how it really works, and it really helps you build your personality also, your confidence level also, and definitely the pay scale is also gets involved. Now let's say the next part is the quality of work. Again, with respect to someone who is not into automation testing, right? What kind of I mean, daily test activities the person is getting involved in. So it could be like someone has to design the test cases. He has to do the execution manually, and that execution could be like multiple times, depending on like where you are within the project and how quickly you want to achieve things. So, but again, it's a repetitive task, it's a manual task, and everything, right? And over there, what you're learning is more about the domain of the project, right? You are not learning the other technical aspects which you should be learning as for being a part into an IT industry. And I've been very vocal about it. I feel like if someone is working in an IT industry, the person should have the right tech skills with him, and it is very much applicable for our industry, which is software testing. And I feel people should look out for gaining skills on the technical sides, and it really improves your quality of work. Once you start implementing things, once you start doing things, it gets reflected in your work cycle. Again, once you are starting, right, everyone struggles, but once you start to build on that, right, continuously, iteratively, you start learning more and more, and your work gets refined, and you improve, and you start improving the work. It improves your way of working, it improves the quality of the project, it improves the quality of the software itself, which you are delivering to the client. So in all that respect, in all that perspective, that is what I feel is something which you should look out for when you think about like why I should choose automation testing. So those are the key points which I feel you should be knowing. Now let's try to also cover some of the points which I feel you should be doing from the, I mean, which are relevant from the employer perspective also. One point we have already discussed. Let's see what are more. So, okay, see, as I said, first of all, the repetitive task, right? From the project side, as I said, like the testing coverage. So let's say that there are 100 test cases which needs to be executed within a cycle. You pick the application, you start executing. Let's take the manual approach first, right? Let's say that that manual effort of executing 100 test cases on a piece of software requires you to do maybe, let's say, 6-7 hours, right, including 2 or 3 people. Now, once your automation is implemented for those test cases, how it really helps? It helps you to I mean to cover the things more quickly. Once things are automated, they can be run anytime, anywhere, right? Irrespective of the person's availability. You could implement CI/CD and just leave that there. What will happen is you will just trigger the execution, and that could be even scheduled or something, right? And how it helps is, right, you can even run it on the maybe overnight, and you can get the report in the morning. So that is the benefit which the project gets. That is why people look out for people who can do these roles, who can fit in these kind of roles. As I said, like there is no, from the project perspective, there is no dependency on an individual for running the test case. If it is automated, it can be run by the system, and there is no dependency on anyone to look in and to trigger the test case. So so the risk is getting reduced from the project perspective. Third, the faster execution. The time and the effort which gets spent on running the complete execution suite, right, manually. As I said, let's say it is taking 7 hours. Again, because of the human nature, you will be taking some time, right? It will not be like machines, like where things are happening just continuously, right? You will take some gap, you will work on something else and then come back and everything, right? So it increases the timeline over there. But with respect to automation, that is the benefit which the project gets again, where the execution can happen, let's say in couple of hours only. And if you start running it parallelly, you drastically reduces the execution time further. And whereas you were getting a clearance or an output report after 7 hours, you are able to get that report earlier, let's say in half an hour and 1 hour, right? So it just increases, it helps you to close the complete cycle of the software development very soon, right? So that this next iteration can start. So that is one of the biggest benefits which the projects also gets. One more thing is like reduce risk of defects. Again, let's say someone person A is testing the feature currently. Let's say he knows about it and he starts executing it, and he tests it, and he has his his uh, his understanding of the application is something different, which a second person will come in. Let's say there are two people, and the first person starts testing it. Let's say the kind of understanding he will have about the application, he will test that application accordingly. Let's say there is a senior person who comes in and who starts looking into things and starts executing the same test case. Maybe he may find some more defects, right? Or he may not find the defects which would be arising in it due to lack of the knowledge he may not have on the project, right? But with respect, when it comes to automation, you eliminate that thing. You are running things as automated. Whatever you have automated, it would be running similar way in all the cases, in all the times you execute the test case. So it helps you to reduce that dependency again, and also helps you to reduce the overlooking of the defects, which could be identified in a case of a repetitive test, right? So that is another part which helps the project, where you are not overlooking over the defects, and your execution is not based on someone's understanding, right? The next thing is, as we discussed, it helps you to deliver a better product with a higher quality. So over the period of time, when execution time is getting reduced, the number of executions you're running on the project, right, is getting increased, and this is getting executed as and when needed. So it all helps you to maintain a quality of the product, and in the end, it is the client who benefits from the software, since there would be less number of defects which they could find at their end, right? And again, the last point which I've written is like, we can use automation testing 24/7 365. There are no holidays or anything, right? You can just make it, you can just schedule things, automation runs, and it can just seamlessly run without needing help from anyone else. So try to understand, like the first of all, from the perspective of a person like me, like who wants to get into the automation testing role, and second, from the perspective of someone who is offering you that role, like why are they offering you that role, and what is the kind of value you're bringing into the project. And remember these points, and this is something which will help you understand like why your role is so important in the project, right? Okay, let's see like if we have any questions around it. Okay, I don't see any questions on YouTube, and there are no questions here. Great. So let's move ahead. So let's move to the next topic. We have like we want to understand like what are different roles in automation testing. Okay, so on a general level, what I have tried to generalize it in a way like what are the kind of roles we find in the QA industry. So, but to start with, right? Like we start with the entry level, let's say the junior automation engineer. Then we have, on top of it, we have senior automation engineer. After that, there would be a lead automation engineer like me, like I'm working as a lead, right? So that is where I come in. After that, there could be a next level, which could be QA architect or QA manager. Now, what I'm trying to say is like, see, as if you would see from here, right, there are 5 levels or 5 roles, 5 different roles which I've identified here. But again, depending on the organization you are in, the kind of the structure which they follow within the organization, this could vary. Over there, you could have only, let's say, 3 roles, where someone could be just the automation engineer. The next role after it could be lead automation engineer, and the next role after it could be a QA manager. That's it, right? But again, the responsibilities and the roles which which gets assigned in that kind of a structure are similar, right? Those are not different. So I'm just trying to say like the structure across the organizations could vary, but the responsibility of which are required to be fulfilled for that particular role is same. I mean, whether you work as a junior engineer, senior engineer, or you club them together and form just one role, the responsibility of both of them would be getting attached to that role in that specific organization, right? Okay, so let's try to understand the responsibilities of each one of them. So let's start with a junior automation engineer and try to compare it with the next parallel role, which is like a senior automation engineer. So let's say, okay, so junior automation engineer. So what are the responsibilities of this person? So first of all, let's understand, like as I'm saying, like if you are starting fresh, if you are starting new to the project, or I mean not to the project, to the industry, to software testing, right? This is the kind of role you would be offered. You would be told like, okay, you are coming with a fresher's experience as an intern, or as a fresher, and we welcome you, and you will be assigned this kind of a role. Now, as part of the responsibility, right, what all you are expected, I mean what all is expected out of you? First of all, let's say that project is based on Java stack. So what they will expect from you, they will expect that okay, the person knows something around Java. He can write code. He can, if someone asks him to write a code and anything, he is able to do that. So it validates whether the person has the required knowledge on Java, and he can work on a framework which is based on Java. So that is one of the check which the person could be doing, or the project would be doing. Second is the kind of framework you would be using in the project, right? Again, you're not expected that you are an expert on something, but at least it is expected that you know things, right? So in your case, you would be someone who would be knowing the, let's say, if it is a Selenium based framework, so you know like what Selenium is, how it works, and how do you use it to automate things, right? Again, not the complex situations, nothing more, but at least a basic idea about Selenium and how it really works on the browser. And more you know, it is better for you, right? But again, since it's an entry level job, this is what you will get. You will be, I mean, something would be expected from you. Next is, let's say, as I said, that there are two roles, right? When it comes to automation engineering, junior and senior. So juniors are mentored, and they are also trained by the senior automation engineers. Let's say that what generally happens is like a mentor gets assigned to you once you are entering the industry, and someone who is senior to you would be assigned, and he would be guiding you to know things if you don't know them, right? Or in the right sequence of things, where he will tell you, okay, this is something which is used in the project. Let's say test ng is being used. Let's say for reporting we use LEO report. So he will walk you through the framework he has, or the other tools which is used in the project. But again, you can consider this role as a learning role. You are learning while you're working, right? And this could be applicable for a person who with an experience of, let's say, 0 to 3 or 4 years. So so someone who joins in, the minimum expectation is that he knows around the tools and the technology which could be used. Maybe he has not developed the entire framework or things around it, but he has some knowledge around it, and he or she can work on the task if assigned to them, with the help of their senior engineers, or let's say more senior people within the team, right? Now let's compare this role with a senior engineer, like who comes next in line, right? What all the responsibility which that person has to fulfill? Okay, so first of all, the first criteria of being under this category, right, is like you have some years of experience on the things you're working on. So again, as I said, like if your project is using Java tech stack, right? So you have already implemented or worked on a framework, and you, let's say, within the same project or maybe across different projects, and you know how things works, and you would have participated in building that framework or used it to do the automation part for it, maybe adding more test cases, maybe fixing some test cases, raising bugs. You're very well thorough about the testing processes and things. So this is someone who has some good experience while working in the industry, and specifically on the tools which are expected to be used in the project, right? So as I said, so he could be an expert in automation tools and the frameworks. So that person could be using, let's say, as I said, let's say test ng. So he knows like how how the parallel testing can be implemented. Execution can be implemented using test ng or Selenium grid, right? How the CI/CD integration can happen. Let's say using Jenkins, GitLab, GitHub, or something else, right? How do you push code, or how do you resolve merge conflicts? How do you identify test cases which needs to be automated? So that is the kind of an understanding which the person builds up while working in the industry. The next thing, one more thing which this person is responsible, right? First of all, as I said, that he is responsible for mentoring and make sure that the people who are junior to him, if they have any queries or something, the person is approachable and he can guide them with the right context and unblock them, right? But apart from it, the person also has the responsibility to review the work of the juniors or their peers. Let's say there are multiple senior engineers working within the team. So what they can do is like they can review the work of the juniors, or they can review the work of the peers, so that there is a check and balance around things, and that review process itself also helps you, so that it is like a feedback loop which helps to improve things for the project also, and for the individual also. You will get to know like what are your mistakes and what all the things which you could have avoided to write, and what are the best practices which should be used while working. So that is another an advantage for someone who is getting those feedback. I've been again, I believe in the fact that feedbacks, you should never be worried about feedbacks. Feedbacks are are a way, right? It's a free way where people are telling you like your mistakes, right? And they're helping you to improve. So never take those things in a different way. It they are again, at least on your end, you should be absorbing them, and you should be if they are in the right context, you should be improving upon them. And these comes from the senior folks within the team. Again, it could be coming from senior automation engineer, or the next person in line, which could be a lead automation engineer, right? And one more thing which I wanted to specifically mention here is like this person, senior automation engineer, is someone who owns things. Let's say there is a project where let's say there are different modules, right? And there are 3 or 4 guys who are sitting on senior automation engineer, and there are other people who are on a lower level. So these person who are sitting on this senior automation engineer level, they have to own the module which they are working on. Uh, so what it means? So it means like they would be responsible to maintain, like to answer like what is the testing activities followed, or the processes followed for this module. Are we meeting the acceptance, the required acceptance criteria for it, for the module to be accepted, to be delivered to the client? And if something comes out, let's say that a product is released and that module is delivered to the client, and there is some findings which is happening at the client end. So it would be redirected to this person, and this person would be responsible to provide a clarification around it, like what could be the reason of that defect leakage, or why it is not included in our test spec, or if we say that okay, this needs to be included but it missed, it is the responsibility of the person to make sure that this gets involved. And he is someone who has to own the work of his juniors also in that way. So he's someone who is the face of that module, right? Now the next person who comes in line is like a lead automation engineer. So again, as I said, that there could be multiple people within the team, right? Sitting on a junior level, a person on that be a senior level, right? And on top of it, it's a lead level. Now, from the name itself, right? This is someone. So there, when we are saying lead, there are some managerial responsibilities which gets attached to this role. But when I say managerial, it doesn't have to be people management, right? It could be technical management also. So again, there could be two branches of leads, right? again, depending on the interest of the person or the kind of work we have in the project. There could be two branches to it. Someone could be working purely as a technical lead, where he is not responsible for managing people, but he is responsible to make sure that there is no roadblock for any there is no roadblock for any of the junior folks within the team. So that is the responsibility of this person. And when it comes to managerial role, the person has to make sure that everything is being getting delivered. He looks after the team, and he makes some decisions for the person, for the team members which are assigned to them. Now let's consider, let's say that there are 10 folks, right? And there are two junior engineers, one senior engineer, right? So the pyramid or the hierarchy would be like two juniors, right? And now on top of it, there would be two seniors around it, right? One senior looking after two juniors, and on top of these seniors, there is a lead engineer, right? So if you would see, as I said, senior engineers are someone who are leading the module, right? I mean, who are looking after that module of work, and they are responsible for delivering or being. They are responsible for owning that module. Now, when it comes to the lead, he is someone who is again there could be multiple leads within the team. There is no hard and fast rule that there needs to be only one lead, but depending on the scale and the kind of work you have within the project, there could be multiple leads. But again, the person sitting on this position has to own things, right? So if there are two senior engineers within him, right, or he looks after a subgroup of QA members, he is someone who is responsible for the work they do. So he needs to make sure that again there is a next level of check which is there now, which comes from the lead engineers, who needs to make sure that all QA processes, all test strategies, all test plans are being followed within the team. All reviews are done. There is no roadblock. If there is any POCs required to be done, right, this person would be initiating them, and he can ask someone within the team to be a part of that POC, and he can drive that POC, right? And depending, and he can set the objectives of those POCs and share those accordingly with the team. Next, right? So this is a level bigger than the senior engineer. Now, as I said, that he could be responsible for leading and managing the QA subgroup, right? And as I said, that there could be multiple leads within the team also, again depending on the kind of scale or the work you have within the project, right? Again, they own the pace of module which they are working on, or they're tasked to. The next is like, okay, one of the point of confusion which comes to the people, right? Who's not who doesn't have the who is not into the software testing, but he feels it like the lead engineers are someone who are not involved in day-to-day testing activities. That is not the case. He is someone who is also an individual contributor. So like me, like I have my own set of work which I need to deliver, apart from the work which someone else has to do, like who are assigned to me. So it is not like it is just a role where you have to just manage things. No, it is a role where you have to also deliver from yourself. Okay. Again, the area could be different, the scale could be different, the kind of activities you do are different, but that someone, as working as an individual contributor role, doesn't go away. It has to be an addition. It has to be there, plus the additional task, as I explained. The next is like he's someone who is assigning the work, right? Let's say that we are trying to plan a sprint cycle now, and we know, like, okay, these are the tickets which we need to be tested or automated, right? So he gets into the call, and he whatever understanding he gets into a call with his team members, his or her team members, and they discuss things, right? And again, this process itself could be different for different teams, but generally what I'm trying to say is like the the uh, the responsibility of assigning things, right, like so that they could be achieved as part of that sprint, lies with this person. So this is the person who has to make sure that things are committed, what all needs to be delivered, and they are delivered, and the all the quality gates and the processes are being followed when during that sprint cycle, right? So ultimately, he's like the face of the bigger module, right? For the project. So let's say that there is a payment section within an application, right? So there is a different lead for it. There is a cart section, add cart section, where there could be a different lead who takes care of all the things there, right? So that is just the example to explain like what all responsibilities falls under those people, right? Just to give you the scale, like again within payment there could be different things, and the people below him, right, would be getting assigned to them, and they would be owning those things. But ultimately that complete module, which is like a payment module, is being looked after this lead. So it becomes his responsibility to make sure that all the checks and all the things are being done as part of the execution, right? So we discussed this part also, that he's responsible to make sure that test strategy and test plan is being followed by the team, right? And again, as I said, that this could be a combination of technical plus managerial role, again depending on the number of people you have within the team, or the responsibilities provided, asked by your manager from you. He can add an additional responsibility of even managing things. Maybe let's say you have to manage the people, and you have to make sure that all processes are followed when it comes to people management also. But again, I don't see generally that case. I see like it is of those responsibilities falls under manager role only. Okay, so this is about the lead automation engineers, right? The next role, which is an interesting role, and this is something which is like new, I would say, to the QA industry, and which is a QA automation architect. Now, uh, people can ask like, okay, we talked about junior, senior, lead engineers, right? And we understood like, okay, how things works. But what exactly is a QA automation architect? Whereas there is another role which is pending, which is a QA manager. So first of all, please, we need to identify, we need to understand like what is the difference between the three: lead, architect, and the manager part, right? So as I explained, lead is someone, like as we talked about, right, like what all his responsibilities are, and like he owns things and all, right? Now, this architect role, right? First of all, this, it is not like this role is available across all the companies you would have heard of. No. Okay. There is a trend where the companies have started creating this role, architect role, and earlier, but before that, this role was clubbed with the manager role. Okay. So someone who was managing the QA practices, right? So this role was combined with that person, and he was someone who was looking after all these responsibilities. But as we are progressing ahead, there's a new role being created, which is like an architect role, where the person is more on a technical side, right? So as I was explaining for the lead part, again, the responsibility of the person could be technical plus managerial, right? Or it could be just one of them, right? Similarly, the things were were applicable for manager also. There could be a branching again. There could be people managers, or there could be technical managers. Now, depending on the interest of the person, the branch can be picked up. But now, if you would see, like what I'm trying to say is, this QA architect, as the name suggests, this is on a technical art. This is on the technical side. So he is someone who is responsible for making sure that the architecture which you are using, right, for all testing activities, right, are right. And he is someone who is guiding, or who is making sure that those principles, processes, strategies are in place. So he is someone who's introducing those things, or who is controlling those parts. So if you would see, So he is someone who is designing and implementing the QA processes. Let's say there is a QA process where we say that, okay, how the requirements would be coming in from the developers. Okay, when we have to accept those requirements, what are the meetings will be holding with the counterparts from dev side, and around how let's say again, depending on the what QA process you are following, right, or strategy you want to implement, he makes sure like uh, like that those things are being followed within the project. Now coming next, like as I said, that let's say that there's a test strategy document, right, where you specify, okay, this is like a general strategy document where you specify, okay, this is how things will be, this is how the flow of work would be, and these are the tools would be utilized when you will be working on a specific area of, right. Test plan, when there could be a separate discussion altogether, but test plan is more detailed, right, and it is applied to the more specific case, and it includes like what all needs to be covered for a specific testing. But this person has the responsibility to make sure that overall strategy for the project is being implemented, or it is in place, so that there is so that teams are not working in silos. That So he needs to make sure that everyone is on the same page and they are using the same processes, same tools, and there is a clear guidelines of using them, right. Now the other part, so he is the person who is interacting with the developers, other stakeholders, to make sure that the QA process is aligned with the overall goal of the project. So let's say that we have a, let's say, React based application where on which we need to do a UI automation, right. Now depending there are different ways to test it. There are different UI automation frameworks which are available in the industry. So what could happen is like let's say you ask someone from the senior team and from the junior folks, right, that okay, this is these are different section of the application, can you please work automate this. Okay, if there is no guidelines or thing or strategy in place, what will happen is someone will choose, okay, let's say let me use WebDriver IO because I am more proficient on it, and I have not or I have not explored it. This would be like a playground for me. Let me start consuming WebDriver IO and I will build the capabilities while I'm working. Okay, great. Second, could be someone who is very proficient about Java and he knows, okay, I have already built a framework. All right, let me try to use the same here and let's build it up. Okay. Now what will happen is over the period of time, there are two different tech stacks which are getting built up, right? Now to manage it and to make it run, right, you need people who knows all those different tech stacks, right? So ultimately what happens is during the course of the time, it creates problem for the project. If things are not uniform, if things are not defined, right, that what needs to be done in a certain situation or cases, right, it creates a problem for everyone. So this is the role of the QA architect, where he comes in and he tells, okay, this is the way we will be accepting things and this is the way we will be targeting things to automate. Let's say how the test generation would be happening, test data generation. Just an example. Let's say that he decides, okay, test data generation for UI automation, right, will not do it from UI. No, we will not do it. What we'll do is like we will consume APIs which are already available for us uh, for that particular software. What we'll do is we will invoke those APIs to generate the test data, because that test data generation using those APIs would be much faster, and I mean the time consumed would be very less as compared to if you try to start doing it via UI automation. No, the end goal of that particular test case is not to generate data, right? The end goal of the test case is to validate the one specific requirement, right, which you intend to validate. Now if you use this approach, right, you decide at the level that, okay, we'll be using this strategy to generate data, and you will be you will detail out the guide. Okay, this is how things will be done. Okay, these are the API, these are things which you will be using and all, right. So what I'm trying to say is this is the person who, now again, how will you get that understanding, like, okay, these are the APIs or things which you need to have an interaction with the developers or your peers, right, who are sitting on the left side, or from the on the for people on the higher level, right. They will help you guide to what needs to be done to achieve a certain things. And it should not be like those are meeting your personal agendas. No, this person has the responsibility to make sure that everything you do or anything you do within the project is aligned to what to achieve the objective of the project. You are you are not working on silos. The ultimate goal is to benefit the project quality and ultimately the clients, right? And this is where that discussion or the things which needs to happen within the peers from the discussion side. Okay, as I said, that he is someone who is responsible for the technical aspect of the automation testing. So he is someone who will not be owning the managerial side, because there would be a separate role for that, right? This specific role is more is was created only for the technical side. We have the similar role exists on the dev side. We have like dev architects and all, right, where the person is responsible to make sure that what would be the architecture of your product, right? He defines like okay, this is the kind of modules we'll have. This is how the will introduce on the infra side. This is what we'll be having, right? This is what we'll be using on the database side, and how these will be communicating, right? Similar to it, we have a QA architect who is designing the frameworks, who writes down the guidelines for it, and accordingly the members who are part of the team have to follow that guide and the strategy and make sure that things are being implemented in the same way, right? And as I said, that he doesn't have the managerial responsibilities. Now coming on to the next role, which is the manager role, right? QA automation manager. So this is the as per the roles hierarchy which I explained. This is the on the top side, QA automation manager. Now again, as the name suggests, this is the responsibility of the person is to manage the QA team. Again, from all sides, right? People management, even the technical management also comes into the role of this person. But the people management role is definitely there. Second is like that again, the QA processes, right, were defined by the QA architect, right? Strategy was defined and everything was defined, right? The responsibility of making sure that those are implemented exists with the leads. And again, then if we just walk down the tree structure, it then passed on to the senior and junior engineer, right? So and ultimately from the lead it gets passed on to this manager level, where he needs to make sure that okay, whatever has been have been prescribed to be used is used effectively and is used as is, right? So that is the one of the responsibility of this person. Again, he's someone who is setting priority, assigning tasks, and again, he could be someone who is tracking the progress. Apart from the he's someone who's to whom the leads are reporting to. Leads are not reporting to QA architect. No, leads will be reporting to QA managers. QA architect is a parallel role as compared to QA manager. You can consider those two people sitting on the same position. It's just that the QA architect doesn't have someone's. He, the persons are not aligned to that. Those are the leads are being are assigned to the manager role. So this is the role where all the information about the execution, the what are the issues going on, and what could be the reasons where we are delaying, right? All this gets added to, right? And he is someone who has the this decision making power within the team, right? Okay, so again, let's say that there is a problem, something, right? Again, this is the responsibility of this role to make sure that there is no bottleneck with respect to the issues which are not on the QA side, right? Let's say there is you're not getting the build from the dev side, right? So even lead can approach the dev team and they can ask them, okay, can you, like, what could be the issue, and they can get into that discussion with them. But again, if things are not sorted there, this comes to the manager responsibility, where he pitches in, and he has to make sure that if there is a bottleneck, it is getting resolved. and if something needs to be done for that, he makes sure that that thing is done, right? Ultimately, he is the face of the QA team. So if someone has to if someone is saying that okay, like what is that, let's say that on the payment side, right? Let's say a payment itself has multiple modules, right? So there could be a QA manager for that the complete vertical there. So he could be the face of it, and he is responsible to answer the questions if something is lagging or something is done or something needs to be communicated about it. So this is the face of the QA team, right? Again, as I said, QA architect role was earlier combined with the QA manager, right? Or you can say like some of the responsibilities of the QA architect were lying with the lead engineer, right? Now, since we have this kind of a new role, which is a QA architect, which is now getting prominence across different organizations. But again, the organizations where such role does not exist, the responsibility of a QA architect, again, some of those comes to the QA manager and some of them goes to the lead engineer, right? And then overall, they make sure that things are being are implemented in the right way. So this is all the responsibility of a QA automation manager. Now again, it is not like that the levels stops here, right? No, there could be a senior manager. There could be, again, depending on the nomenclature used within the organization, there could be multiple roles again on top of it. But on a general way, right? The person who are involved in day-to-day testing activities and who are more involved to make sure that how automation runs and everything, right? So this is where these roles are which are important from that perspective. So again, depending on the experience the person has or the kind of work he has done prior to, right, in his previous companies, the next role offered to the person depends on all that, right? And it also depends like what is the policies within the company. Let's say that someone, let's say company A decides, okay, someone who is coming up with the 7 years of experience will be mapping that person to a lead position. Similarly, I mean, on a parallel note, there could be a company B who say that no, the lead engineer would be someone who would be having 10 plus years of experience, right? So there is no general rule around it. But again, the person should always be trying to move ahead, right? And if he is getting a better opportunity somewhere, right? Because it the ladder you reach up, right? If you walk up the ladder, the kind of exposure, right, you gets increased, the responsibility get increased, the salary gets increased, but and the exposure gets increased, right? So accordingly, it benefits in multiple perspectives, right? The growth opportunities are more. You're told about more opportunities which are available, which comes to your door, right? So again, but it all comes when you are doing things in the right way, right? There is no shortcut to things, but the you need to do things. I mean, if genuinely, and you need to explore more and more things around it, right? Our industry is evolving each day. We have a lot of tools, frameworks, and things which are being consumed across the industry. You cannot be a master in all of them, right? But you could be a master in some, and then pick them as your core skills and then work on it and display them, right, as the kind of advantage which you bring into the team. And it ultimately helps you to do bigger things. So that is what my perspective is around all this, and this is how the roles are and the responsibilities of those individual roles. So yeah, so I think we covered all of those, and this is what the agenda of the meeting was today. If there is any questions coming from someone, I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, so there's one question which is from Shrikant. He's asking like about the placement support. Okay, so Shrikant, I think that question can be answered from I think someone from GFG can help you with that question, right? Any other question which could be there with respect to the topic which we are discussing here? Okay. there is, I don't see a question there. Okay, great. So, again, now, since we have time, we can even, when it comes to the course, right, which we are prescribing from GFG, right? So I've talked it very in a very detailed way in my previous session. So people can look into it and get a better understanding. And if you have any questions around it, feel free to reach out and ask. We can help you with your queries, and we can make we can help you get an understanding on the topic. So if nothing else, I think we are good to close then. Thank you for your time, and have a good rest of the weekend.
Thank you, Akhil, for such a great session. It was great having you.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll be ending the session here only, and it was great interacting with all of you. And I hope your doubts were cleared from our end. And if you want to have any kind of information, you can surely reach out at GeeksforGeeks and get all your doubts cleared regarding the course or anything related to test automation. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining the session. Thank you, Akhil.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Have a nice day. Bye.